Yeah, welcome to the show. It is your WWE Hell in a Cell 2021 post show. Let's do it. Yo, 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 welcome to the show. I'm Dave. This is my bro. Hell in a Cell 2021 is what we just watched.
And it's in the books.
The books are in. We have books.
It was okay.
You liked it?
I enjoyed most of it. I did not feel sleepy throughout.
Oh, you're still awake. That's a good sign.
So, that's a bit credit to them.
He's awake. We stayed awake to watch this pay-per-view. What did you think of this pay-per-view? How do you rate it on 10? Give it a rating on 10. What was your match of the night? Did you even watch this pay-per-view? Because I know a lot of you watching us in Montreal, big Canadiens game tonight that just ended. They just lost to Las Vegas in overtime. The series now tied at 2. Sorry to hear that for all the Habs fans. That's why Johnny North is not with us, because he didn't watch Hell in a Cell. He can't recap Hell in a Cell. He wasn't even watching. This guy's a man, dedicated his life to professional wrestling, but that's how big hockey is here in Montreal. If you don't know, it is massive, and people are. I don't know how many people in Montreal were actually watching Hell in a Cell tonight. We may have been
many.
Among the very few watching the pay-per-view. So if you didn't check it out, we will give you a full recap of what happened tonight at WWE Hell in a Cell. A show that I liked better than last year's Hell in a Cell. I thought it was better. It wasn't the best pay-per-view. A lot of the finishes were lacking. That's really the theme of the pay-per-view tonight. It's not the wrestlers. And again, it's a theme for the WWE. It's not the talent. It's not the wrestlers. It's the booking that leads them astray. It's the booking that turns everything wrong. We had good matches. We had good efforts by the talent. But in the end, the finishes that they were given were not great. And, they could come up with their own finishes sometimes, and who knows how they do it. What's the process exactly? Like, it's not clear, and you don't know who can say, well, I don't want to do this finish. Let's do this other finish. There are different agents for different matches. But it was clear tonight.
I wish we got to know who are the agents.
Yes, I wish we knew who the agents were.
Then we could know whose personal touches are in each match, and then we could critique matches more individually. Is this a Jeff Jarrett? Is this a, TJ?
Yes. I would love it. Look at that. Hell in a Cell background.
Yeah.
Fire.
We are engulfed in flames.
We're looking like Bianca Belair tonight.
Oh, yeah.
With her cool fire gear.
Yeah, I like that.
I thought that was match of the night.
As did I. Opening contest as well. Did not expect that.
I thought it was going to close the show. If you watch my preview here on the Ringside Report Network, which, by the way, thank you for watching. Thank you for liking this video, subscribing to the channel, doing all the good things that you do to help this channel survive. Hit us up on Super Chat if you have any questions for us here tonight. I see my man Angelo Contagonis. Of course, he watched the game tonight. Danny Brook Media. AJ in the house.
AJ's on the loose. We're watching you, AJ.
Franco 316. Lauren Cronish out in Côte St. Luc. Mako 8033. I see you guys. Shout out to you guys and everybody else watching us here on the Ringside Report Network. Bayley versus Bianca opened the show. I thought it would close the show. I was a little bit confused by the rebooking of the Roman Reigns Rey Mysterio match to SmackDown on Friday, as opposed to what it was initially planned for, which was Hell in a Cell here tonight. It was a Hell in a Cell match that they decided to move to Friday, and then on Friday, Bianca decided to make her match with Bayley a Hell in a Cell. When she did that, I thought, oh, well, maybe they have something big planned for Bianca and Bayley, and they want to give them a cell match and put them at the finish. Maybe Becky Lynch will come back. Maybe something would happen. But nothing like that happened. They just had a very good Hell in a Cell match. I don't really get why Roman and Rey was moved to SmackDown. After watching the show tonight, there are a few conclusions you can come to. A, they wanted to pop a rating for Fox, right? Which makes sense on SmackDown. B, they wanted to put Bianca and Bayley in a cell because they thought it needed that, and SmackDown already had their representative for a cell match, and they didn't want to oversell it on the cell pay-per-view, so they're like, yeah, let's do a Roman match on SmackDown and give Bayley and Bianca their match. Maybe that was the deal.
Could be.
And then the other option is that they wanted Drew and Bobby to close the show. But if you had Roman on the show, you can't really close it with Drew and Bobby.
It's Tribal Chief.
Right?
Yeah. He has to close the show. It's the cardinal rule.
It's his company, Tribal Chief, head of the table.
Absolutely.
So I think it might be A, B, or C. It might be a combination of three things. Either, Roman can't be on the pay-per-view because we want Drew and Bobby to main event, or we want Bayley and Bianca to get a cell match. I'm not really sure what the thinking was behind it. In the end, I think it really worked out, though, because we had 2 cell matches tonight that were the best matches on the card by far, and we had a cell match on SmackDown that was quite good. And for a pay-per-view, or rather a TV show, it was a pay-per-view quality main event. It was really good. So,
and it might have felt like overkill if it was on tonight. If we had 3 cell matches tonight,
it would have been too much.
Yeah.
Yeah, if Roman was on tonight, Bayley and Bianca would have just been a regular match, which I'm happy it wasn't, because that cell match was very good.
It really benefited from them. They really took advantage of the cell. Also, Drew and Bobby, too. We'll get to that later. But Bianca and Bayley, I thought, were very creative in using the cell, along with kendo sticks, and just putting, Bayley putting Bianca in different positions up against the cell, things I hadn't quite seen before. It didn't just feel like a traditional match, like with bashing each other's head into the cage,
Yeah.
It felt like
they
really
innovative.
took advantage. Yeah,
it was
absolutely.
different.
Yeah.
The kendo stick spots were cool. Bayley stuck 2 kendo sticks. She had 2 kendo sticks taped together, like a super kendo stick, and then she pulls that out from under the ring, and then she pulls out another super kendo stick, and she puts it across one hook in the cell and the other on the ring, like the steel there, almost under the ring, the steel kind of that keeps the ring together.
Area.
And she set that up like a table, and then did she go through it, or did Bianca go through it? Somebody went through that shit.
Bayley went through it. Bayley took a lot of damage tonight.
Bayley took a lot. It was really good stuff from
the finish
Bayley.
Bump too was nasty.
I even want to play the audio for you if I can of Bayley.
Yeah, a meme or the
the moment of the night was
moment of improvisation, I would say, tonight.
Yeah, I think so. It was fantastic, and I've got it here for you.
Bayley's fantastic.
Bayley is, I tweeted it tonight. Bayley is a joy to watch. She's just so good. She's one of the best wrestlers in the world today.
She looks like she's having fun out there.
Yes. She's so loose, She's so, in the zone when she's out there. And that match tonight with Bianca was great. And, Bayley was leading the way.
So Bayley's feeling pretty sore right now. I feel like we have a script to follow, and I'm trying to give you your line. So, would you agree?
I don't know.
That Bayley's feeling sore right now?
Oh yes, Bayley's probably beat up after that match.
Yes, absolutely.
Bianca's beat up tonight. Bayley's beat up tonight. It was a hell of a match. They did really well.
Yeah, my match of the night too. So we haven't given our ratings yet on 10. We should start with that.
Yes,
I think we kind of reached the same one. Pretty much like a 5.5, strong 5.
Yeah. We were talking about it before.
That's not a bad review necessarily.
I'm giving it a 5.5 on 10.
It's a bit disappointed.
Because,
we're disappointed.
We're just talking about Bayley and Bianca and how good that match was. After that, the pay-per-view dropped off significantly. And that's kind of a problem. The pay-per-view dropped off significantly after the opener. We had 3 matches that really had no consequence. They were okay, but they didn't really mean anything. That Bianca-Bayley finish, by the way, is the reason why it's match of the night. Not only did they have a great match, but the finish was good. The finish to Bobby and Drew was not good. The finish to Sammy and Kevin was, fine. The finish...
No, Sammy just... Oh, well, he hit
kicked him in the face and pinned him. It was fine.
Yeah,
the finish to Charlotte and Rhea was not good. The finish to Shayna and Alexa was not good. It was really bad.
That was some zombie shit.
So, like, it dropped off significantly, and that's why it doesn't get a really high rating for me. I thought the 2 cell matches were really good. Everything else, not great.
No.
You know?
Rhea Charlotte was pretty good, just the finish.
Yeah, well, that's it. The matches were good, but, like, a lot of them didn't mean anything.
I wasn't impressed with Kevin and Sammy.
Yeah.
I felt pretty tired out.
I've seen it like a million times.
And this wasn't a good version of that.
It didn't mean anything tonight.
It's like sometimes it's like when you see a band, you know, like 5 or 6 times, and just one of those nights they were just off.
I don't think they were off. I think they were just I mean, it was fine. I liked it. I didn't like dislike the match. I was just like, yeah, it was 12 and a half minutes, and I've seen them do this a lot, and it just felt like, oh, okay, well, Kevin won at Mania, so we're going to give Sammy the win back here so that we can just keep them the same.
50-50 booking.
And I don't think you needed that here. I thought Kevin could have just won.
Yeah.
And that would have made more sense. Sammy beating Kevin. And again, Sammy beat Kevin because Sammy pushed Kevin into the ropes, and Kevin hit his throat on the bottom rope, which he then sold his throat because Commander Aziz gave him 2 Nigerian nails on SmackDown. So Kevin was not only beaten by Commander Aziz on SmackDown, but also assaulted after the match, given a second of Commander Aziz's finisher, the Nigerian nail, is now injured by those finishers, yet he needed to wrestle tonight Sami Zayn and not Commander Aziz, which the motivation of the character doesn't make a ton of sense there. So I wasn't really into this match because he seems to be feuding with Apollo Crews and Commander Aziz, but for some reason that wasn't the match tonight, and it was Sami Zayn for some unknown reason other than just to get the win back from Mania, you know? And that's what Seth and Cesaro was like too. It was like, why are these guys wrestling each other? Well, the match, you know, was fine. So Sammy beats Kevin with the kick. He gives him a haluva kick, 1, 2, 3, middle of the ring. And, you know, it was fine, but he didn't have much of a point. Seth beats Cesaro with a small package. The match was good, but then all of a sudden it's like, yeah, small package. It felt like they ran out of time. It was 16 minutes. Maybe a little longer than it was supposed to be, you know?
Felt pretty long.
It did feel a little long. I feel like maybe they skipped right to the end or something because the finish came like a little out of nowhere. The match was good, but then all of a sudden Seth does a small package thing and 1, 2, 3, and we're out of there. And again, you're trying to push Cesaro. I mean, they seem like they're trying to push Cesaro, but they don't ever follow through with the push of Cesaro.
It seems cruel. Like Bradshaw said something on the pre-show tonight. It was just like, it's like almost like the Cesaro catchphrase. He said, Cesaro will be champion in 2 years.
Yeah, JBL said that on the pre-show, which
very
is
confidently.
So crazy. JBL,
it's just a joke. It's a cruel joke they're playing on poor Claudio. Just dangling that brass ring.
So I think Cesaro's going to be a future champion in 2 years. The guy's like 40 years old. What do you mean in 2 years? He's 40 years old. People have been saying he's a future champion for how long? And then tonight, you have the opportunity. You have the opportunity to actually put him over one of your top stars clean in a feud. He beat him at Mania. He could beat him again here and be done with him.
But instead, hot on the road to SummerSlam.
Exactly. But instead, what is Cesaro now? He's the same.
Yeah.
He's the same as he was before Mania because he just lost to Seth. He hasn't gone up. He's stayed at the same level. You haven't elevated shit. It's so dumb the way they do that. You would think at a certain point you'd be like, all right, fuck it, we're going to push Cesaro. But they never, ever pull the trigger. And tonight was another example of like, here's an opportunity. Okay, Cesaro wrestled. Did he wrestle Roman at the last pay-per-view?
I think so.
And he lost to Roman, right? So Cesaro beats Seth at Mania. WrestleMania Backlash, he works Roman Reigns for the Universal title. Loses. And then his next pay-per-view match is against Seth again, and he loses to him. What was the point of pushing Cesaro before Mania? What was the point of any of that? Right?
It feels like a retread of like his WrestleMania 30 run, you know. It's big time over at Mania, and then just peters off, and you just worry, like, you know, you feel sad about the wasted potential.
It's sad.
And now he's 40. It's like it's way past potential.
Harold Schneider dropping a super chat, says, thanks for your dedication. Thank you, Harold. Appreciate you. He's a member of the channel. Don't forget to become a member of the channel. Click that join button beneath me. Antoinette dropping a super chat as well. And she's also a member of the channel. Shout out to Antoinette out in Toronto. She says, love the shirt, Dave. Happy Father's Day. Thank you, Antoinette. This was a shirt, actually, that we bought for my dad, but it was like it's cut a little too small for him. So I was like, well, I'll keep it. I'll get you a size for you, and then I'll keep this one.
He got other shirts. So.
Oh, he got other shirts.
Biggie.
He got plenty of shirts. I'm sure he's happy with his shirts. I hope he's happy with his shirts.
He seemed very happy with the shirts. That yellow number?
Happy Father's Day to all my dads out there. Yeah. It's just disappointing with Cesaro, man. You like him, you want to see him do well, but then he cuts these promos that suck, and you're like, oh, maybe not.
No one has worked harder than I have for all these years. I can speak 5 languages.
He's just awkward when he does it, you know.
These 4 sides.
There was
of
that
rope.
one in-ring promo he did on SmackDown like a few months ago, and it was just like, oh my god, it's so bad. It's so bad. He made Seth look good on the mic, and Seth is super boring. But
really
at least
boring.
Seth can string 5 words together without stumbling and bumbling all over the place. At least Seth can be coherent for 3 to 5 minutes at a time. Cesaro starts talking in the ring, and he looks like a deer in the headlights. He doesn't know what he's doing.
Even still to this day.
And that's why he lost to Seth Rollins tonight, because the WWE doesn't have faith in him. He's great in the ring, but Seth is, Seth. Seth is their guy. Cesaro isn't. Solid match, weak finish. The finish should have been, if you're going to put Seth over, what's his finisher?
The
curb stomp?
Yeah.
Curb stomp him. If you're going to win, beat him. If you're going to beat him with your finish. Don't beat him some shitty way where you kind of steal a win. If you're going to beat a guy, beat him. Make it mean something. That's like wrestling 101. If you're going to beat a guy, beat him with your finish. If you want it to mean something, finish him.
Like sometimes a small package or like a quick reversal, a guy tries to sunset flip and you sit on his shoulders. Sometimes that works, but like it has to be kind of creative. Bret Hart did a lot of those finishes, but he was creative in those finishes. It's possible.
You could do a small package. Like Bret Hart, Owen Hart, victory roll at WrestleMania 10, the finish. You could do a victory roll, but like the way they did it, the way they worked into it, they were so tired, and then it wasn't like a small package is a move that you do when you're just like you're dead tired, and you're just like, get the advantage, whoop, and then you steal one, and it's like, woof, glad I got away with that. Not like, we're fighting, and then, here's a small package, and then 1, 2, 3, and I'm a heel and I beat you.
It's good Seth Rollins impression.
I mean, that's what Seth did, and that's what Bobby did tonight.
Yeah.
Ha 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 ha!
Doesn't make him look strong.
Not a good pay-per-view tonight. I'm giving it a 5.5 on 10 because I really liked, the work put in by the wrestlers. I thought everybody did a good job, and it's hard for me to shit on a pay-per-view when the wrestlers are working so hard and doing so well. Like, Bianca and Bayley was perfect. The finish of that match, Bianca hit Bayley with her finisher on top of a ladder that was open. Boom. 1, 2, 3, sick. Great finish, great match. Perfect. That was the only perfect match on the card tonight. You had Seth Rollins versus Cesaro. Good match. They worked hard, but they were given this shitty finish, the little small package, 1, 2, 3. Alexa Bliss and Shayna Baszler.
Ooh, here we go. Now,
if she can do magic, Alexa Bliss, right? Which apparently she can do. She does magic.
She has telekinetic powers.
She does evil magic. At one point, she puts Nia Jax in a trance. She stares at Nia Jax. Nia Jax stares at her. Alexa starts lifting up her hand. Nia starts lifting up her hand, mimicking Alexa because she's in a trance. And then Alexa, as Reginald stands next to Nia, Alexa goes, whoa.
Oh, he's like, no.
Yeah, and then so Nia goes, whoa, and smacks Reginald down because Alexa put her in a trance.
She feels terrible about it.
And
Great acting from Nia.
A few times Alexa put Shayna in a trance. And Shayna was all freaked out. She had Sister Abigail and then Twisted Bliss to beat Shayna 1-2-3 middle in the ring. I mean, at least we had a finisher with a pinfall in the match, so, you know. But if you can do all this magic, why even wrestle? Why not just make Shayna lie down, put your foot on her, and avoid taking a single bump?
Yeah, Undertaker didn't have those kinds of powers. You know, he could have lightning strike so his enemies couldn't escape. But then he'd, brawl in the ring.
Yeah. I mean, the urn made him strong, but it didn't give him superpowers, maybe supernatural, healing strength. He was hard to kill, right?
Yeah.
He would do the sit-up, and it was like, oh, shit, I thought I killed Undertaker. It looks like he was a zombie.
But that's not
character.
special effects.
No.
Or his opponent doing anything ridiculous.
When they lost me when Alexa, I was like, okay, Alexa just stares at you and freaks you out. I could buy that.
Nia.
But then she stares at Nia and she lifts her hand, and then Alexa lifts her hand, and Nia lifts her hand, and Alexa slaps air, and then Nia slaps Reginald.
Voodoo. It's like voodoo.
It's voodoo. And it's like, come on, man. I mean, Papa Shango couldn't even do that.
No, he never really did that, no.
He was a voodoo master. He couldn't even do that. Alexa Bliss has the most powerful voodoo in the history of the World Wrestling Federation.
The Fed. The worldwide leader in sports entertainment.
I mean, this is just outrageous.
Yeah, it's bad. And it's just a branch of the Bray Wyatt storyline, so it has that kind of stink to it, the firefight. Her theme song, I never really listened to it before. It's really unpleasant. I know it's meant to be, but it's unpleasant and just in the Right to Censor theme was unpleasant. Just it's grating on the ears and it makes you feel like you're about to throw up or something. It just keeps going.
I didn't feel like I was gonna be sick.
No, it's just that kind of weird feeling.
Like
a dizzy feeling.
I don't love her theme music, but I don't really notice it.
I found it very unpleasant.
It was not good. And see, this is what happened in the pay-per-view, right? Bianca beats Bayley to open the show. Great match in the cell. And then we had Seth and Cesaro that was disappointing. And then we have Alexa and Shayna that's just super weird and not good by any means, right?
Uh-huh.
Too much voodoo. And then we have Kevin and Sammy that really didn't mean that much. It was a good match. It had a clean finish, but it just... They've done it so many times. They've had stakes, they've had something on the line before, and this had nothing on the line whatsoever. It didn't have a number one contenders match with Apollo Crews. It didn't have shit.
Yeah, there was nothing to it.
There was no reason
drama.
Other than Kevin got distracted by Sammy on SmackDown that caused Kevin to walk into the Nigerian nail by Commander Aziz, and then Sammy ran away. And Aziz hit him with another Nigerian nail, and Kevin wanted the match with Sammy. It's ridiculous.
Because Aziz is just too green.
If somebody
that's the only reason.
assaults you, and somebody beats you in a match, first of all, don't you want a rematch? Even if there's a guy distracting you outside. First of all, wrestlers are too distractible in the WWE.
Yeah.
The lack of focus is astonishing.
It's a Adderall.
Imagine in the UFC... if there was a guy fighting and the other guy's corner started yelling at the guy who was fighting, and that guy looked over at the other guy's corner in the fight and got knocked unconscious. Do you think people will be like, oh, that guy's corner who was yelling, those dastardly da-da-da-da-da. No, you'd be like, oh, that fighter's... Yeah, they'd be like, no, that fighter's an idiot. He should be focusing on the task at hand. Keep your eye on the ball, dude.
That's never happened before.
In pro wrestling... especially in WWE, AEW doesn't do the distraction finish nearly as much as WWE does. They kind of do a little bit, but, they don't rely on it. like the WWE does
God.
consistently on every show they ever have done for the past 10 years, right? Find me a single show, Raw, SmackDown, NXT, whatever, an entire episode without a distraction finish.
There has to be
defy
one.
you. It's never happened. Not in the past 10 years. I defy you.
Last 10 years, okay.
In the last 10 years, they haven't done a single TV show without that type of finish. That tells you the lack of creativity.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's really bad.
A lot of the women's matches.
And I'd bet
used to
anything
finish
on that. I'm confident when I say that. That's fucked up.
Back in the Divas Championship
You know what I
days.
mean? How fucked up is that? That, they do distraction finishes on every single show. It's so unoriginal.
Sometimes in big matches. I remember Kevin Owens lost his belt to a distraction finish.
It happens constantly.
I hated that so
much. The main event, Drew McIntyre can never challenge Bobby Lashley again for the WWE Championship because of a distraction finish, which was ridiculous, by the way. The fact that MVP was even in the cage, which, let's get to that right now. We'll get to Charlotte and Rhea in a second. But I want to talk about Bobby and Drew and that match, which was awesome. I thought the match was really good. You see Drew McIntyre's back at the end of that. It was all welted up. He was beat up real bad.
And halfway through the match,
Kendo stick shots, right? From Bobby, Drew got beat up real bad. Drew hit Bobby with a sick power bomb that looked really rough. At one point, Drew got choke slammed off the apron through a table outside the ring. It was sick. The bump was nasty. That match was very good, right?
Yeah, and MVP found his way into the cage. Why did they open him the door?
I can tell you exactly what happened with MVP.
Yeah,
all right? So what happened was the ref that was in the ring got hit and he bumps. Right?
That's right.
And immediately I go, well, who cares about a ref bump in a Hell in a Cell? They're hitting each other with chairs and shit. It doesn't matter if there's no DQ. The ref bump usually is to cheat, right? But what happened was, so the ref is down. The main ref is down. There's a ref outside the ring watching the door of the cage. That ref starts opening the door and goes inside the cage to be the ref in the match or to help revive his fellow ref, right? He's there to kind of be the official in the cage to count a pinfall, right? Because when the ref bumped, Drew then hit his Future Shock DDT, and they try to sell it like a near fall thing. Well, if the ref was there, it would have been a finish, but no, because Drew only wins with Claymore, doesn't win with Future Shock, so who cares, right? But that's besides the point. So what happened was they opened the cell door. The ref has the key, opens the door. MVP comes in with the ref, right? So now MVP's in there with the referee and Drew and Bobby, and MVP gets attacked by Drew. At a certain point, there's a referee outside the ring that locks the door with MVP in it.
Yeah.
And MVP is acting like, oh no, now I'm stuck inside here with Drew. But we're all thinking yeah, but now it's 2-on-1.
Why would the ref willfully do that? Why wouldn't he say, hey, MVP, get out of here?
Why? Yeah. Why would the other official that was outside the ring, I guess they had multiple refs around the ring, right? So one ref is down. Second ref comes into the cage and opens the cell door, allowing MVP to get in. Third ref then locks the cage door behind MVP, and MVP is then scared and not happy that it's now a 2-on-1 situation, him and Bobby against Drew. Drew beats up MVP for a bit, but MVP's still in the cage, and we're all waiting for MVP to kind of get involved with the finish and help Bobby win. And he did. Bobby's down. Drew is setting up for the Claymore. He's in the corner of the ring, and he's come on, doing the edge thing, setting up a spear.
Total Edge.
Yeah, it was basically a ripoff of Edge, begging a guy to
bouncing
get
up and down.
Yeah.
He's doing the exact same motions.
Yeah, it was the same thing. Except Drew was doing it. And then MVP grabs Drew's leg. Drew gets distracted, looks down at MVP get off my leg. And then Bobby just schoolboy rolls him up. 1, 2, 3.
And that's it.
And that was it.
What's up with that?
It's just such a bad finish because And that's how Drew is done now. Drew can no longer challenge Bobby Lashley for the WWE Championship. And you end it with a little schoolboy. Bobby doesn't look good in that. He cheats to win off a distraction finish, like very TV finish, not a pay-per-view finish, right? Bobby doesn't look especially strong coming off of that. Drew doesn't really look great because he gets distracted by MVP and just gets rolled up 1, 2, 3. Like, Drew couldn't kick out of that?
Yeah.
He couldn't kick out?
I don't know why.
The finish should not have been that. What the finish should have been is MVP and Bobby using weapons and just beating the living shit out of Drew McIntyre until Drew's just so fucked. Bobby then applies the Master Lock, whatever, full Nelson, right? Until, I mean, Drew's basically unconscious at that point because MVP and Bobby just have decimated him, and you're begging at that point for it to stop so Drew can just get out of this. And Drew's like unconscious. The referee calls it. And then Bobby and MVP stand there looking menacing as fuck, being scary.
Who's going to challenge them now?
And Drew actually takes a beating and can go away for 2-3 weeks and heal up his wounds, right? And then you bring him back and he can do something else. But now, like, Bobby doesn't look great doing this. Drew is just like, I kind of got screwed and now I'm out of the title picture. Like, it doesn't look good for anybody. The beatdown at the end would have been far better. But they didn't do a beatdown.
Yeah, surprising.
It should have been MVP and Bobby just like chair shot, kendo stick, fucking powerbomb through a table, and then full Nelson. Referee's like, come on, guys, it's enough. Fucking ring the bell. It's over. Drew's just like dead.
They love those kinds of finishes.
It would have been good.
They love those finishes.
But I guess because Roman Reigns is kind of doing a submission hold like that's kind of a Roman Reigns finish, and maybe they didn't want to give it to Bobby. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know. But if the rumors are true that Brock Lesnar is coming back and, the WWE's trying to bring him back as soon as possible, you would think Brock and Bobby would be the thing to do. But Bobby doesn't look great coming off this win. Like, he doesn't look intimidating enough to beat Brock. How did he win tonight? MVP kind of helped him, and he did a schoolboy roll-up. He didn't look dominant in the win tonight. He had a good match, but the way it was booked, not favorable for Bobby Lashley as a legitimate threat against Brock Lesnar. He has yet to look supremely intimidating as WWE champion, and that's a problem. For a guy like Bobby and the way they're trying to book Bobby, they haven't allowed him to have moments where he just looks like he's physically dominant and cannot be touched. At this point, it's like, well, Drew would have beat him had MVP not got locked in the cage, right? Drew would have beat him if...
so the ref screwed Drew.
Yeah, the ref screwed Drew. And it's not like, oh, well, Bobby's so dominant. He won tonight. He's so dominant. Who could possibly take Bobby Lashley? Brock Lesnar. And then Brock Lesnar comes and is like, oh, shit, here's Brock. None of that.
No. It seems like they just wanted to make it seem like Bobby's this, Miz-like champion, always getting by on the skin of his teeth. And then Brock Lesnar's going to show up and they want to condition the audience to think, well, Bobby's got no chance. And then when they wrestle, Bobby just gets thrown around and loses in like a minute and a half. Like maybe that's what they want. They don't want you to believe in Bobby. And then when Brock comes in, you're just like, yeah, Brock, get him. And Bobby, in like every Raw, has Bobby just running away from him. Maybe he attacks Brock from behind, and puts him in the master lock. And it's like, oh, no. And it's like, will Brock ever get his hand? Maybe someone says, yeah, Brock, you can't put your hands on Bobby Lashley, but he could put his hands on you for like 3 weeks. Because you went crazy on Raw.
Yeah, Bobby's the scared heel.
Vince is like, you're giving away my storylines, pal.
Yeah.
This is the build-up to SummerSlam. And then at SummerSlam, Brock throws Bobby around 4 or 5 suplexes. And then
it's over quick.
Gives him a submission finisher.
Yeah. quick.
Yeah, and that's it. And
Kimura, he
Bobby
taps.
gets tossed out the side.
Like the Cain Velasquez match.
Yeah.
Right? It was like a minute, kind of looked MMA-ish, and then Brock puts Cain in a Kimura, and Cain taps.
That was a Saudi Arabia show, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That's one of the great oddities in wrestling.
Oh my God, that was.
Well,
the
look back
thing.
looking back now is crazy, but
looking back
the longer
now,
it goes, it's like wow.
At the time, you thought, oh, this is just the first of a few with Cain Velasquez, and Cain Velasquez is gonna be a wrestler, and that's what it seemed like at the time.
He's gonna wrestle Seth Rollins.
But looking back now, it's just WWE trying to get a win back for Brock from the UFC.
Mm-hmm.
He lost to Cain in the UFC, but to WWE, it's like, well, now it's even now, pal, because Brock got you in our ring.
That's right.
Except it's fake.
They paid Cain through the nose, I'm sure.
Like,
who knows how much he got paid in that show.
But I agree. I think they could just come in, bring Brock in to just kind of steamroll over Bobby. But, like, what are you building towards?
Brock just being the champion for a while.
He's got to have a SummerSlam. I mean, I
Yeah,
guess
like
SummerSlam is Bobby, and then he just runs.
And then he shows up again at like Survivor Series. You know, he just won't be. You know, just be the Brock show. He just doesn't show up, and fans will be like, "Oh man, this sucks." I was cheering for Brock at SummerSlam. I thought he'd come back every week.
It's just funny. Antoinette is saying that Brock Lesnar on Raw doesn't really make sense because Paul Heyman's on SmackDown. But I actually think the opposite. I think Brock Lesnar on Raw does make sense because Paul Heyman's on SmackDown and he's with Roman Reigns. Like, I don't think you could really put Roman and Brock together.
No, not as like a...
Because Brock comes back, he's a
two-man power trip.
Brock comes back, he's a top act, he's challenging for the belt. He's not going to just like be okay like Roman's bodyguard. Like, that's not going to work for Brock, you know? So I think you kind of got to keep him away from Roman and Heyman right now.
Heyman says, like, I have 2 clients on 2 brands. What's the problem?
Yeah, or Derek John in the chat says there's a rumor that Shane McMahon could be Brock's manager, which would make sense as well. That could work too. Shane says he brings Brock back to the WWE, and he does that. Or you just keep Brock silent, you know? You have him maybe do a couple backstage interviews that are pre-taped that you can edit, which are always good, that Heyman could write for him, you know? And you don't have him cut any in-ring promos ever. When he's in the ring, if he's in a promo segment, he just runs and beats people up and looks intimidating. There are ways to have Brock as a solo act. Like, people forget that he was a solo act for a good portion of his early career before he left and went to UFC. Like, he was on his own, and he could cut a promo. Brock is not bad on the microphone. I actually wish Brock was able to talk more in the WWE because he may not, like, stick to the script all the time.
Oh, no.
Which is part of the fun of Brock Lesnar. Like, in the ring, he doesn't always stick to the script. He kind of does his own thing sometimes if he feels like it or if he has to, you know? And I think on the microphone, like, at a certain point, he was cutting a promo, but when they first brought him back after his UFC run, and he was on his own, and they let him cut a promo, and it didn't go so well, and then they said, okay, we're going to bring in Heyman, and then, you know, it was Brock and Heyman from then on. But I think you could have Brock without a manager. I think you could easily do it. Like I said, if you want him to talk, backstage interviews, you know, Michael Cole's talking to him, or Jimmy Smith is interviewing him, like, that would be good. Jimmy Smith worked for the UFC, worked for Bellator. I think he's a black belt in jiu-jitsu. He's got an MMA background. Like, Jimmy Smith. Oh, somebody hitting us up. Jimmy Smith in a backstage interview, I think, would be really good with Brock Lesnar. Something, you know, pre-taped that you could edit and kind of keep contained. There are ways to do Brock solo. There are ways to do it. Shane as his manager would be fine, I guess, but I don't know if you need it. AJ saying Brock going to destroy Bobby, of course, because AJ thinks wrestling's real. And if it were real, Brock would beat Bobby in like a real fight. Just in case anybody's wondering, Brock Lesnar would 100% beat Bobby Lashley in an MMA fight. I'm supremely confident in that, having seen them both fight.
It's probably why they never made it happen in real life. Nobody thought it would be that much. Like, no one would think it would be a close fight.
No, I mean, look, promoters are going to try and make money, and they know that's a money fight. Just on paper, you see those two guys like, oh, shit, right?
Yeah.
And Bobby's got like a 15-2 record. Like, he's got a pretty good record, but he hasn't fought, anywhere near the competition that Brock fought. And Bobby was tied to Bellator, and Brock was in the UFC. And, that's just the way she goes.
Bobby was like in TNA at the time, I think, with Brock's peak. I think that's when Bobby was like running TNA.
Yeah,
he was on top in the Brock Lesnar gimmick.
They never crossed each other. Different MMA promotions, different pro wrestling promotions. But now's the time for that match. Yeah. Too bad. Too bad they didn't build Bobby up very well tonight.
No,
people want Sable as the manager for Brock. That'd be good.
Yeah,
his wife Rena.
Yeah, she's been absent for a really long time.
I mean,
I don't think she wants to be in the public. And I think it was a pretty contentious split with the WWF at the time.
Yeah, but I mean,
money can heal wounds, but
she'd be an interesting character to see on TV. I don't know how it would go, but I mean, she's a legend. I don't know why
she should be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I don't know why she's not.
I think she has made like a choice, like not to.
Maybe.
I mean, I remember in her last run,
she doesn't seem.
She was in some pretty like racy story. I mean, not that she does, but like Vince was like on top of her a lot of stories.
She doesn't seem like a very public person anymore either.
No.
You don't really see her around. She's not like, I don't even know. Does she have Instagram or whatever? I don't even know.
No, you just see her sometimes with Brock maybe, but like.
Yeah, they seem very private. She seems like she's adopted that private kind of recluse life like Brock Lesnar. And that's why we haven't seen Sable. But, I mean, Sable with Brock would be sick, right? I mean, it's his real-life wife. We know the connection there. We know Sable. We know that she hasn't been on TV for so long. Like, seeing Sable back now would be huge.
Yeah.
It really would be.
It would be pretty cool. Just from a different era.
She's the best manager Brock could possibly have right now.
Yeah,
she's the most compelling manager. Like, that would make sense for Brock. It's the most interesting choice. Like, if you have
Randy Couture,
Paul Heyman. Randy couldn't talk. Randy's got no business in wrestling. Like, Randy can talk. He's good on commentary for PFL. I really like him.
Just his presence, would be like, oh, Randy.
It'd be weird, though. As like a coach, maybe, for Brock.
Yeah, because he's kind of older, so he wouldn't think,
But I don't know if he could do a lot of the promo work. Like, if you need somebody to kind of carry the load of the promos, I don't know if Randy Couture is the guy you want.
Sable would be interesting because, she'd be like talking about defending her husband, and,
yeah. I think,
Would she still use that line? What's it? This is for all the ladies who want to be me.
Probably not.
And all the guys who come to see me.
Probably not. It would be a different Sable. They would have to present her in a different way. But I think her and Brock would be a really fun pairing now.
Yeah, it'd be interesting.
I would love to see it. I would love to see Sable back. I really would love the WWE to recognize her a little bit more and the impact that she made. Like, she was a huge star. Like,
her ratings were the biggest.
The biggest.
And her Playboy, I think, was the biggest, too.
Her ratings were the biggest. Ratings.
Yes. Big pop.
And, like, she was just, like, when Sonny and whoever, and, like, during that kind of beginning of the Divas becoming a thing, Sable was, like, the biggest star among them.
When she powerbombed Mark Miro, like, once on Raw.
It was crazy.
It was crazy. It was like, huge.
Her match at WrestleMania 14
her
and Miro against Goldust and Luna, like, that's
I remember being
stuff.
very excited for that match, being like, let's go, Sable, yeah.
I mean, that was,
Yeah, it was a big deal.
Way ahead of its time. Sable was way ahead of her time.
And Sable bomb.
She gets no recognition now. Nothing.
And I think it's like you were saying about, like, the Dean Ambrose thing, like the snub. It's, she doesn't really wish to, remain with the company. So they're like, well, we don't want to acknowledge you either. We don't need you.
Yeah.
It's very much like that. You don't want to be part of our,
Well, there was a lawsuit for sexual harassment at some point.
That's what I'm saying. It was a little contentious.
Yeah. But her husband, I mean, has worked on and off for them quite a bit.
Maybe they've been able to reconcile that. Like she has nothing to do with it, so she can be like, well, it makes
Haven't
us
seen her around though, right?
Yeah, she probably. I bet she doesn't go to the arena.
I wonder if she goes.
When he goes. I don't think so. Maybe on. I don't know.
Go to Mania.
Because just maybe I don't know if she had friends or not there, and like from that era, there's nobody left. That she'd be like, oh hey, I remember you.
You very rarely.
She wouldn't want to say hi to Sergeant Slaughter.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if she goes with Brock when he has a Mania
Never
match.
saw her in any of the backstage stuff.
No. And anytime you see Brock backstage with Heyman.
Yeah.
Right? Angelo drops a super chat. He says Lesnar will be fine on his own. No manager for him.
Possible.
I agree with you, Angelo. I think he'd be fine on his own, but a manager like Sable would be goddamn interesting, wouldn't it? I like Sable. I'm a big fan. And Angelo is... once again, the Super Chat leader of the night. Thank you, Angelo.
Whoop, whoop.
Appreciate you. Brock Lesnar. Will he show up tomorrow night on Raw to confront Bobby Lashley?
Maybe. Or maybe wait till after Money in the Bank.
Yeah, Money in the Bank is next, right?
Yes, July 14th?
I'll tell you here in a second. 18th. In Fort Worth, Texas.
Ooh. DFW area.
Thank you for following.
Thank you.
Yes, because they're going back to touring, right?
Oh. Yeah.
Are they not touring?
Yes. The WWE is on the road again.
That's right.
That was the other. That should be a meme. I ask all you memers out there that take the WWE is thing and then put whatever you want after it.
Yeah,
be
WWE
creative.
Is.
I'm not gonna say, but I'm sure you could figure things out.
5.5 on 10. That's what the WWE is to us tonight. We are unanimous. Simon Brothers.
It's
unanimous.
a consensus.
5.5 on 10. Bianca and Bayley was match of the night. And I think we've covered everything.
Charlotte and Rhea, we didn't talk too much about.
Oh, did we not?
No,
okay.
we went to Bobby first.
So that was not... I mean, that was a good match. Very good match. I was really enjoying it up until the finish. They were having a good one. That was the match I was looking forward to the most. I thought maybe we'd see a title change here. But no, Charlotte Flair does win. She wins by disqualification when Rhea Ripley was outside the ring with Charlotte. Charlotte had put...
Oh, thank you.
Things are happening. There's all sorts of...
Oh, my goodness. Business is picking
Thank you,
up.
Antoinette. Was that Antoinette dropping a super chat? Or was that old? Was that before? I think our production is a little slow tonight.
Oh, okay.
Something's happening. Wait, was that live?
Super chat.
Yeah, see, those things are dropping. That's from before.
We've gone back in time.
Yeah, we're going back in time. Those are from before. I don't know. The production
Great
is like...
Scott.
What the hell's happening now?
Super chat. Super chat.
See, look at that.
Okay.
See, they're all coming in now at the same time. Thank you to all you, Antoinette and Harold and Angelo for super chatting. Appreciate you. Our production, I don't know what happened, because I think the fire is making everything too hot.
That's right.
The
Slowing
fire
it
of the
down.
cell has messed with
Slowing
everything.
down those transactions.
You had mic problems. Our super chat production all hit at the same time. Somebody hit us up on super chat again to see if we've regulated that. All right.
Yeah.
Charlotte and Rhea Ripley.
Yeah, the finish. Yeah. So Rhea on the outside.
On the outside. So Charlotte had put Rhea in the figure 8 or the figure 4, not quite the figure 8.
Yeah,
Wasn't able to bridge out.
No.
And Rhea kind of rolls out of the ring to escape it. And Rhea's hurt. Her leg is all beat up. Charlotte has got Rhea in a really bad position. Rhea leans up against the announce table and takes that flimsy thing that's on the top of the announce table that they always just toss aside. She takes that and just kind of throws it at Charlotte, and the referee calls for a DQ.
What was up with that? Is that a weapon?
How is that disqualification? I mean, I guess it's a foreign object, but man, it's not
flimsy.
A chair, and she didn't really hurt Charlotte with it. And then she attacked Charlotte and hit her with the riptide, and Rhea kind of stood tall there. But she was in trouble. She got herself disqualified. I mean, that's the big story. But really, the way she got herself disqualified was just... That's it. That's a disqualification now. It was like a SmackDown DQ.
Yeah.
Sometimes that match if you do that, just kind of throw the top of the announce table at your opponent. It's not, Oh, I think we're up to date now. Are we back? Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, Harold Schneider and Angelo both putting out the fire. Thank you.
Thank you.
Super chat. Super chat.
See that sound? It's like super chat. I don't know why that is. Thank you, Harold.
It's Christopher Walken is
Harold
doing
putting
the
out the
super
fire.
Soup.
Angelo.
A chat. Oh.
Oh, Harold is now the super chat leader too.
Oh.
Harold is in the lead.
King Harry.
Harold takes the lead. Thank you, Harold. Appreciate you.
So they had weird finish, SmackDown finish.
Yeah,
they just start ringing the bell, and you'd be like, "Oh, okay, that's
when
that
she
match.
did it, I was like, "Wait, that's a DQ? That's it? Disqualified for that? It was nothing. It was incidental contact. It just kind of whips the thing at her, and it's like, oh yeah, it's match
a good
over,
match,
title match, good match, and then they just couldn't come up with a finish. I mean,
it must take its toll on the wrestlers. Like they put a lot into that match. Charlotte and Rhea took some big bumps in that match. They did some interesting spots. Rhea did that big top rope superplex, and then just, that's a little flimsy finish, Like, it's got to feel underwhelming for them to, perform like that. And, have to sell it right afterwards, not have to look pissed off or anything. It's got to suck.
There must have been a better way. I'm trying to come up with a better way to finish that. A chair shot is like
throw a chair at Charlotte.
Throw a chair would have been better.
Because Rhea was saying, I just did what you would have done. She was saying that weird promo after the match when she was on the ramp. And I'm like, I thought Charlotte used chairs, I think, when she wanted to, cowardly get out of things.
It was just so low impact that it was just... Whoa. What was that?
Is that a baby?
I think so. Thank you for subscribing. I think what would have been good is Rhea, she's crawling outside the ring. She crawls over the announce table to commentary. She gets behind one of those rolling chairs that they have. Commentary guy gets up. Mm-hmm. She then just kind of she's tired, and she pushes the chair into Charlotte. Charlotte flies away. Disqualification. Okay. More impactful.
More desperate.
It's desperate, but it also hits her with something that you don't normally get hit with. And, it could hurt. One of those, their chairs are big.
She pick it up and throw it?
She could just roll it into her legs, Charlotte on the side.
And she rolls it after running a bit, or
roll it on, kind of run her over with it.
Okay.
Just kind of run her over with it. Charlotte bumps down, and then Rhea kind of has and then tumbles forward. The chair down onto Charlotte.
Okay.
Disqualified.
See them working with that.
If you want, I could demonstrate it on you with this chair that I'm wearing.
I don't think we should do it in the studio.
I'm wearing this chair, baby. It's stuck to me like glue. So, not a great finish. Rhea Ripley remains the Raw Women's Champion, and Charlotte loses by disqualification with a little top of the table that looks like flimsy plastic, where if you got hit with it, it just wouldn't hurt whatsoever.
You can't even use it as a weapon in the video game. When you press L1 to take, you just take it off and the little animation in place. You can't even use that thing. It's not a weapon.
It's not a good weapon. It's not a good weapon whatsoever. It's not a good way to finish a match. And that was Hell in a Cell.
Yeah.
Good matches, but bad finishes. The only
and
good
the
finish,
bad streak of 3 matches there.
Yeah, and those 3 matches in the middle there, between Bianca Bailey starts the pay-per-view hot. But then Seth Cesaro, no one really cares. Alexa and Shayna, Sammy and Kevin was why? Good match, but there's no reason. And then Charlotte and Rhea, that's a match where there's a reason and you're pumped for it. And then it kind of disappoints with the finish, even though the match was really good up until that point. And then Bobby and Drew, very good. Both guys worked hard. 25-minute match, almost 26 minutes. And, it ends with that finish with MVP just kind of holding the leg and Schoolboy. And Bobby doesn't walk away looking particularly strong. And it really does nothing for Drew other than take him out of the title picture. So it's not great. It's not a great pay-per-view. Not the wrestlers' faults at all.
If these matches had good finishes, this could be an 8 on 10 pay-per-view.
Yeah.
If Bobby and Drew and Charlotte.
If they do the beatdown finish with Bobby and MVP, if you find a better way to get Rhea disqualified, even that, if Sammy and Kevin had done something that I hadn't seen them do before. Like, I don't know how you save that match. Like, it needed to mean something. Yeah. Make it for #1 contender for Apollo Crews for the Intercontinental title. Make it mean something.
Have
Put
Commander
something on the
Aziz
line.
interfere in something.
There was all this talk about Commander Aziz. We didn't even see him.
Yeah.
Right?
I'm getting tired of that.
There's Angelo dropping a super chat.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks for the summary of Hell in a Cell, guys.
No problem.
You are welcome, my friend. You are welcome. And I think now he's the super chat leader again.
Oh, boy.
Is he? I gotta do math again. You guys make me do math. Yeah, he is. Thank you, Angelo. Super chat leader, once again. Alexa and Shayna, less voodoo, more wrestling, because the wrestling is good, but the voodoo is just not. Shayna and Alexa are solid wrestlers, but they did mostly voodoo over 7 minutes, so it was nonsense. That Nia Jax thing was just ridiculous. Seth and Cesaro needed a better finish, too. Just have Seth win, curb stomp instead, but, it was another small package.
I think we'd be remiss, though, if we didn't make mention of Mandy Rose's performance in the pre-show match and her, the hesitancy towards the bumps and, her preparation.
Yeah.
Just special note, that was pretty bad.
Mandy Rose is a little too choreographed. You kind of see her shit coming a little too far ahead of time. Like, Natty's going for a clothesline, and you see Mandy just kind of bracing for it, standing in the ring for a good couple seconds before Natty makes contact. Right. There's just little things that Mandy Rose does, a little awkward, and Natty, carried her through that match. It was the opener on a pre-show. I was just happy to see Natty get a win on, anything. She won a singles match, which this wasn't for her tag team titles. She could have easily lost tonight. It actually probably would have made more sense had she lost, because Mandy and Dana are trying to come up with a reason to challenge for the titles. If Mandy wins, then it's like, oh, well, I got the win on you. Maybe we deserve a title. Or
next night on Raw, Dana defeats Tamina.
Yeah, but they didn't do that. They're just no, Natty's going to win. Sharpshooter, sharpshooter submission finish by a Heart. I'm going to limit my complaints on that.
I know.
When a Heart wins,
that was a good botch.
When a Heart wins,
it'll be on Botchamania
on WWE TV with a sharpshooter, I'm happy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That happened. I'm like, yeah, whatever happened up until this point is all forgiven, because Natty wrapped that sharpshooter up nice,
twisted like a pretzel,
real nice, just like her uncle's, and Mandy tap middle of the ring. Right. Anytime we can see a good Canadian girl like Natty Neidhart make Mandy Rose tap out in the middle of the ring, I am happy.
That's true.
God bless Bret Hart.
His birthday coming up soon, July 2nd.
Best there ever will be. That's right. It'll be Bret's birthday not this coming Friday, next Friday.
Yeah.
Bret's birthday. All right. Happy Father's Day to everybody. We love you big time. Thank you, everybody, for supporting the channel. Thank you for being members. Antoinette gives this a 1. I'm giving it a 5.5. I think a lot of people are not giving us ratings because a lot of people were watching the hockey game tonight. Unfortunately, the Canadians lose, but it's still a tied series, so who knows?
Still plenty of hockey to play.
A lot of hockey.
A lot of beer to drink for y'all.
That's right. Or, whatever else you want to do. Angelo is the super chat leader of the night. Thank you, my friend. Angelo out in Laval. Thank you to Harold Schneider as well for supporting the channel, dropping the super chats. And, of course, Antoinette out in Toronto. We appreciate you and everybody watching the show tonight. This has been the Hell in a Cell post show. I'll be back, brother, tomorrow night after Raw for the Raw post show. Okay? Okay.
All right.
Like the video, subscribe, do the things. I'll see you again tomorrow night on the Ringside Report Network. Thanks, man.
No problem. Anytime.